Hello, this is Erin with The Joy in Pens and Paper, and I am going to do a currently inked for July of 2024. I am recording this ahead of time because I am actually in Greece or Turkey at the time that this video will be published, and I wanted to ink up my pens before heading out. So I chose these pens and these inks with the thought of flying and being limited to just these pens and inks for about 2 weeks, and as well into the rest of July. So let's get into it. The first pen and ink that I have selected is the Noveler and Galen Leather Co. collaboration. And this is a rose gold demonstrator pen. It does have Galen Leather Co. Right here on the barrel. And I wanted to bring this pen because there is a potential that I might be able to stop into Galen Leather Co. And I just thought it would be really lovely to be able to stop in with a pen that is an exclusive to their shop. I also selected this pen because it is a piston fill and it has a larger ink capacity. So I would be unlikely to run out of ink. All right, so this is the Noveler Galen Leather Co. And this is a fine nib, and it's inked up with Birmingham Pen Co. Antique Sepia. Now, I chose this ink because certainly I love the color. It also has some chromo shading, which will make it a little interesting and fun to write with. And it's an ink that's well lubricated. I know that it's well behaved. So that is the first pen. The second is the Opus 88 Halo in blue because it has a blue grip section. And I chose this pen because it is a large ink capacity, it is a dropper fill, and I can close the plunger so that ink is restricted from getting to the feed, and then on the plane I'm not going to necessarily have to worry about leakage. I do have a worry about the other pens leaking, but this one not so much. And if all else fails and those pens leak everywhere and it's a hot mess express, this ink capacity should last me the duration of the trip. And I did consider just bringing this pen, but I do like to have options. This has an extra fine nib, and I can't recall if I said this, but it's inked up with Diamine Earl Grey, which falls into that grayish black or gray black colorway that I'm sticking with in my planner, my time management for this year, so I can use it in that. But it also does have some chromo shading, and it's that purplish grayish with a little undertone of pink in it that will make it really enjoyable to write with. Next up is the Noveler Voyager Voyage pen in Tromso. So this is supposed to give the feels of Northern Lights, but the fact that this is a voyage pen, it's a travel pen, that's a big reason why I selected this one. And this also has a fine nib. Now, both of the novelers I did not fill to capacity. I wanted to leave some room in the I guess ink reservoir, if you will, just so that when there is pressure on the plane, there's some air in there. And I will be storing them upright in my carry-on so that it's less likely to spill and make a mess. And this is inked up with Robert Oster Summer Storm, which is this really lovely dusty blue with a little purple undertone. And then the fourth and final pen that I have inked up for July / my trip to Greece is the Lamy 2000. This as well is a piston fill. I also did not fill it all the way so that there's some air in there. And I did extract a drop before I filled it part way, probably 2/3, I would guess, but I can't really tell. And then after I filled it, I then expelled a drop back into the vial and then closed the piston. So, and again, I will be storing it upright in the hopes that it does not leak. So Lamy, I like writing with this capped. And this is Colorverse. Intense Magnetic Field. Now, this is a sample that I received from Zen of the Pen, and I don't know if that swatching video will be coming out before this one is posted. We'll see. But when I swatched it, it was this really beautiful saturated burgundy color, and I may have even commented while swatching it that I might ink that up for this month. So I did. So those are the 4 pens that I am inking up to take with me to Greece and Turkey, and we shall see how far they take me through July. And I might do a second currently inked in July. We shall see. We shall see. So with that, I am going to sign off this. Oh, no, I'm not. Lies, complete lies. I wanted to show these swatches on different papers. Glad that I caught that. All right. So the first up is, so this is the Galen Leather Co. Everyday Notebook with Tomoe River paper. This is the Hobonichi Tomoe River. This is the new Tomoe River, which is some Cezanne paper. And so just to look at that side by side, not a whole lot of difference if I'm looking really quick. This seems to saturate the ink across the page a little bit more, so it's not as precise of a line as evidenced by the Colorverse Intense Magnetic Field. And then I also have Cosmo Air Light. And we're going to do a switchy switcheroo here. So Tomoe River on this side, Cosmo Air Light on this side. You're able to see a little bit more of the pooling on the Cosmo Air Light, so the shading comes out a little bit different. And I typically do say this with the Cosmo Air Light paper, but the paper seems to absorb the ink pretty quickly, so instead of sitting on the top and getting more of a precise line, it absorbs and the line is a little bit more broad than it is on some other papers. You can definitely see that with the Earl Grey. This looks like it's probably a fine nib versus this is the extra fine, even though it's the same pen and ink combination. Next up, I have Clairefontaine paper by Rhodia. So this is a stark white. This looks much more cream next to the stark white. And looking at these, it's fairly comparable. This, the ink sits a little bit more on the paper, so the line is a little bit more precise even than the Tomoe River paper. So again, if you're looking at the extra fine line on the Opus 88, it is more fine on the Clairefontaine paper. And the last paper that I've got to compare is the bank paper by Life. So this is a bit more of a creamy color than the Everyday Notebook. So you've got those three colors to compare: stark white, light cream, darker cream, I guess. And looking at this, the chromo shading comes out a little bit more prominently with the antique sepia. You don't really see it a ton in the Earl Grey, and that's fine. The other two look fairly comparable, actually. So those are the additional papers that I swatched in. And now I will sign off. Time to finish packing for our trip, and there will be more content to come in my absence. And when I get back, I will do a full recap of the trip and share some memories. If you haven't subscribed, please do so that you can get alerted to those videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.